Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Marzullo here, Ramp Studio Comics. Welcome back. And this is live stream number 7. And today's live stream will be obviously using Manga Studio here, and we'll be doing backgrounds and perspective. So this was actually requested about 2 or 3 live streams ago, and we got sidetracked, and now we're back on point. So I'm starting it off like I do with anything else, just a very rough sketch. You see, I dropped in a 1 point perspective there, but it's very loose. I do this just to get some ideas down on paper or digital canvas, I should say, and then I'll use Manga Studio's tools later to refine it. The perspective tools and all that. So I just get started this way. So I'll wait for some people to jump on in and start chiming in. Let me know that they can hear and see everything that's going on, and then we'll go with we'll start getting some questions answered and things like that. So you see, I just very loosely, none of this is exact. This is just the sketch phase, just to get some ideas in place. And everything just converges down to that 1 point perspective. And I usually work big to small when doing buildings or cities or rooms or anything. I just start with a basic block shape first, and then I work into the finer details. And let me know if you guys got any questions and what you'd like to see. I figured I would lay out a couple rough sketches like this, and it'll kind of get the ball rolling. Someone has your name, Chief Anator. I think that's your comment from last week, maybe. Is that what you're saying? In profile picture. Yeah, I want to say it's your comment from last week, I would think. All right, so we got a few people here now. Any questions or directions that you guys have that you'd like to see in this? I'm basically just trying to start with a very simple perspective and go from there. I generally stream. Hunter Davison's asking how long I'm going to be streaming for. I generally stream for an hour. Sometimes it goes a little bit over, but that's what I'm looking at today. Should be. What is up, Stop Motion? How you doing? Good to have you. Hello, Bakir. I don't know what a power user is, so I would say no. Somebody just asked if Smith Micro recognizes me as a power user. They are getting ready to put some of my brushes on their site, though. They have I think they own. Well, I know they own and operate Content Paradise, and I showed them my brushes, and they were saying I could put them on there as a seller or whatever. So maybe that'll help solidify me as a power user. Not exactly sure what that is, though. Yeah, so we're going to be doing perspective drawing today. This is a really bad sketch, but that's kind of where every drawing starts, even the good ones. Generally start as a bad sketch. So what I do is I get in some of the basic, shapes in there, and like I said, I can go back and use Manga Studio's awesome perspective tools and fix all my inadequacies here. But I use this part to really just figure out, what the scene's kind of gonna look like, and get in some little details and stuff like that. Plus, I want to show how 1 point perspectives are really kind of powerful. You'll see a lot of them in comics. You don't see as much 2 and 3 point. You will see them, but not nearly as much. A lot of it goes back to the 1 point perspective, but it's just used different ways. Let's see. Saying a power user is someone that they recognize as a huge influencer since you have a YouTube channel. They're hitting you up for brushes. I think they do. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I promote Manga Studio a lot, and I've never been paid to say anything like that. So it makes me, I think, in a way, a little bit more legit because I'm just saying, hey, this is truth be told, kind of thing. So I'm sure they had to recognize that somewhere because I got a lot of videos on the topic. But yeah, so it is what it is. Over time, I'm sure somebody may offer me any kind of number of deals. Like, I think it'd be cool too if they issued me out a few free softwares that I could give out to my fan base. That would be pretty sweet. I've seen other larger channels do stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Shoot, I think Draw with Jazz, I think he gives out Wacom every month, doesn't he? That said, I was going to suggest that they listen to you. Add a perspective grid. What is this software? This is Manga Studio, also known as Clip Studio Paint. What are you saying, add a perspective grid? Do you want me to add that in now to the drawing? Is that what you're saying? Unfolded Warrior? These names are great, man. Yeah, thanks for answering back, Chief Anator. That really helps out. But yeah, so what I do is I do a lot of this stuff where I get it in basic, scribbles here. And then, for instance, just so you know, just a couple little tricks as far as doing perspective. Even with this basic scribble, you can do this thing where you kind of find center. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I'll show you. So you can find center right there, and then use your vanishing point right here. And then you can repeat this process as many times as you need. And see how easy that is, and you can keep finding center. So I just want to make sure I showed you that because this is a neat one. And see how I just keep making those X's, and I use the vanishing point right there. And this is how you align your windows. And what happens is if you use this method, you'll literally get the windows, or I don't know about literally, but whatever, the windows would be right in the right place. Versus here, I just visually did it. So they're probably not in the right place. So if I checked my work by segmenting it off and then crossing it and doing center, I'd find that my windows are off. But this is how you center things like that. And you can take this to any degree or level that you need. Yeah, so Sketchbook Pro is, I see you guys commenting there. Sketchbook Pro is a monthly rental kind of lease thing now. And Manga Studio is for purchase, but it's really affordable for what you get. I mean, this thing is just packed to the gills with tools. It just does a lot. I mean, the perspective tools alone are worth the purchasing price of the regular version. Then you have the EX version, which allows you to save all your files in one unified document. So for making comics, I don't know, to me that's just a no-brainer. It's just worth it. But that's just depends on what you're, if you're a hobbyist and you're just looking to mess around, do some scribbles, and maybe something lighter, less intense, because this can be intense as far as architecture of the interfaces. You see there's a lot of stuff here, but that's also why it's so powerful, because it's got a lot of tools. So Okay, so Unfolded Warrior is saying, sorry if I sound like a douche. You know, you don't sound like a douche. That's just a funny word. I'm self-teaching and perspective is a huge challenge. Adobe Illustrator has a grid button that you can manipulate and use as a guide. Okay, so what Manga Studio has in here that to me is unbeatable as far as perspective goes. I'll convert this to a blue line and I'll just say that I got enough detail in here to take it to perspective. What you do is you go layer, ruler, create perspective ruler. And where'd my, oh boy. Hope I can explain this. Where'd it go? Layer, ruler. Okay, hold on one sec. I guess what's probably happening here is I'm gonna have to minimize this window. Yeah, so this is the one thing I don't like. The software is great, but what it just did is it floated the window over to the other screen. So that kind of sucked. But all right, we're back. Hopefully that didn't mess anybody up. Okay, so 1 point perspective right there. So you have the option of 1, 2, and 3 point perspective. This is just a 1 point. So that's what I wanted to show is that a lot of these scenes are really converge to 1 point. But we'll start with this. I'll hit OK. And now I get these, you got to use this little icon right here. You see it looks like a perspective box with a pointer. Click right here. Drag this little bad boy right there. And then you can grab the ends of this with these little plus signs. Oh, nope. I always get that wrong. Okay, so you grab the little plus signs if you want to move your vanishing point or your horizon line at the same time. So you grab the middle one here. And you just kind of, and you can see how bad my perspective is off because, yeah, this is going to be embarrassing, isn't it? Yeah, so it's really off. But I always start with this sketch just to kind of get started. Oh, this one's pretty good. All right, a little off. So, you know, I check my work right there. And I can see that it's sorely off. And really, I could just place that one. You could place the other one over here, but you really don't have to. It's still going to snap to this 1 point perspective. Now, the thing to keep in mind with these is that if they're purple, they're active. If you click right here, it's that little diamond shape turns green, that means that one's no longer active. So purple is active. What else? If you grab the little plus signs, you're gonna rotate your horizon line like this. You can hit Command Z to go back. And same thing, if you grab the plus signs here, you're gonna rotate the horizon line in correlation with the vanishing point and all that stuff. So I want it right where I started, right there. I want to move it around and check the work. And sometimes you have to just kind of move it around and get it, you know, you want to hit as many of these lines in your sketch as possible to save time, or at least I do. So I might move it over here. And to me, the building I spent the most time on is this one. So yeah, I guess I'll actually move it back. So you spend a little bit of time getting this all set up and figured out where you want. And then once it's in place like that, you just start drawing away. And let's see, I'll add a layer. I like to work off a layer of the perspective ruler. So I add a layer and I got to check, make sure it's snapping, which it is. So now what happens is everything that's up and down is a nice easy pull. Actually, I'll put this over top of my blue line. And then that's about the only drawback. See how I just did that? So I always keep my hand on Control Z. And sometimes you got to pull a couple lines, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, for the amount of time saving that you get by doing this, it's, you know, who cares if it goes off every now and then. And see how everything's just snapping to perspective. So a lot of times when I want to, you know, and you can zoom in and out too. So you can zoom right into here and start detailing this building. And say I pull this line up here, I can go through it, hit Command Z, and then find my spot again and go back. So that's kind of how I check perspective and draw through objects. So I want this little trim piece up here. I want some little segments right there. It's just really quick to work this way. So this is actually the first thing that led me to get Manga Studio was these perspective rulers, because I just hated perspective drawing. I don't hate it. I mean, I like drawing whatever, but it was a bit of a nuisance compared to, like, you know, I like just drawing characters mainly. but you gotta have background. So as soon as I saw that they had perspective tools out, I was all about it. So, just little separations of lines there. Okay, and I'm trying to read through these real quick. I'm interested in how speech bubbles work in Manga Studio. Okay, I'll see if I can get to that. This one is mainly going to be on backgrounds and perspective, just because it's real easy to deviate and get it into other stuff, and then we don't end up covering the one topic. So let me see if I can get to that by the end. If not, we'll add that in another video, because we're supposed to be doing one on page layout, which kind of makes sense to add that as well. Sup, man? Love your videos. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. What else? If you have the X version, I think you can create costume speech bubbles, or at least that is what the Manga for Dummies says. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Can you do the same thing in Sketchbook? Yeah, Sketchbook's got some pretty neat perspective rulers as well. I'd say Manga Studios are a touch better. There's just a few things that you can do in Manga Studios that you can't do in Sketchbook. The one that really annoys me, and hopefully the guys over at Autodesk are listening, is the fact that you have to adjust your perspective ruler every time to something else. So say for instance, I'm working on a complex scene, and I've got something that needs to be drawn in a different perspective. I have to move the perspective guides around, where here I can just create another layer and keep that layer. I actually create these perspective layers, and I'll save them inside the group of whatever file I'm working on, whatever panel I'm working on. So it's a huge time saver. So I don't know why in the world they set it up. Oh, see, I even messed up there. Why in the world they set it up where you had to adjust the same ruler? It's a huge hindrance. That, and the fact that on this one you can also do this grid effect. I don't do it very often, so I'll have to find it. Let me see. Where is it? I gotta find my perspective ruler settings. I think it's through here. Seems like it would be here. I'll have to find it. Basically, what you can do is you can tell these perspective rulers to turn the grid on. And I can't believe I can't find this. View, layer settings. Does anybody know where that's at? Yeah, I can't remember. That sucks. I think it usually pops up here. I must have condensed down the window or something. But somewhere in here, as you're adding your perspective rulers, let me try to just add a new one. So you can add multiple perspective rulers like this. Create perspective ruler. Say I wanted to add a 2-point now. I can hit OK. And I can have as many of these as I need and just toggle them on and off. So again, that's just a huge time saver for more complex scenes and working on a page with multiple perspectives. Yeah, and the reason I don't really know where they're at is because it gets a little bit distracting, but sometimes it can be helpful when placing objects. But I typically work without them. So, all right, so let me keep working on this for a bit. You guys just chime in if you got any more questions about that. I think it's in the subtool menu. Yeah, I do too. I wasn't seeing it because it'd be right here, right? Subtool or select. Windows subtool. Interesting. I'm losing my mind. Okay. Well, we already all knew that, right? So yeah, and then you just get in here and start detailing away. Oh, seeing right there, I actually went off perspective and didn't even realize it. And why is that? That's the 1 point. Yeah, so another thing to keep in mind as well is certain brushes will actually snap and other ones won't. And now I gotta find that. Oh, I think I know what it is. I think I know. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Back to this problem where when I'm using Manga Studio while live streaming, it blocks out some of my options. It puts them on the other screen. Yeah, I really wish it wouldn't do that, but it is what it is, I guess. Yeah, none of these are snapping now. What in the hay? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. For some reason, the perspective ruler's not working. Oh, right there, it turned off for some reason. Yeah, so I must have hit a shortcut command for that. I'm not sure why that happened. Yeah, it's still not working. Wow. Okay, well, it's kind of hard for me to promote that one. It's just not working. Normally I have no issues with this. That's why I'm wondering if it's a live stream. I've noticed some wacky stuff when trying to live stream with this program. It really sucks because this is the one that I enjoy using the most, and I don't experience any problems when I'm not on the live stream. But for some reason, yeah, it's not snapping to this now. Try that. Yeah, I don't know. All right, any other questions, you guys? I guess I won't be able to show you any more with the perspective rulers for now, so I can figure out what's going on. I guess you know what I'm going to try to do. Let me try adding a new one. Maybe it's because I added two in the same folder, but I never have an issue with that. So layer, ruler, create perspective ruler, 1 point. Move this into place. You know, it really sucks because now I'm going to have to try to find that perspective again. And this is essentially what you end up having to do with Sketchbook Pro every time, since they don't save the rulers as a separate component. You have to maneuver it each time like this to find where you were last at with your perspective. So it can be a real pain. So you basically just align them right to your existing area there. Let me check. And still not snapping. What in the world? Go to lighter pencil. Okay, there we go. Yeah, some brushes don't snap as well, but yeah, I don't know why it just went haywire like that. But at any rate, back to doing this. That was awkward. So then I just keep doing this thing where I draw through. Oh, and actually I'm on the layer. Oh, I see some people are leaving. Probably because I was sitting here messing up with the software. My bad. My bad. So you guys got any other questions, or you want me to just keep drawing? And has anybody got anything they'd like answered? Yeah, the neat thing with these two is you can get pretty good at creating certain effects with the rulers. like, you know, the motion lines everybody likes to do. Characters are flying out at the screen or whatever. These are done really easily with a 1-point perspective, because you can just, you know, draw them like this and they all line up. So really neat feature. Oh, got it. Yeah, hey Rob, I was able to get a grid up through view, but it's just a regular grid, not a perspective grid. Got it. Yeah, it's basically in the perspective subtools. I just have it hidden somewhere here. I'll find it and I'll make sure to touch on it on a future video. Who was your inspiration to becoming an artist? It was pretty much, if I had to pick one person, because it was probably a few, but if I had to pick one person, it'd be Todd McFarlane, because I was new to an area I moved to, and I didn't know anybody, and I went to a comic store and picked up Spider-Man #1, and I was kind of hooked at, you know, wanting to draw. It's like ultra detailed like that. I'd always drawn, and I never even read comics before that, or maybe a little, but wasn't into comics. And after I saw that book, I was like, oh man, that's dynamic, that's cool. I want to draw like that, or, you know, somewhere in the vicinity, I guess. Let's see. When drawing buildings, supposed to support a character, how much detail would you emphasize? Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, basically, you always want to think about where your area of focus is, and that's what should determine your detail, kind of. And then when drawing, you know, a scene like this, let me pan back. I would do kind of what I'm doing here, is where I would draw the majority of the detail right here on this forefront building, and the more that it pans back and away from, you know, the main area of focus, I'm going to get more simplistic with it. So, like, you know, this building is going to be a little bit more simplified than the one next to it, and things like that. I'm just going to kind of keep going with that. Man, I was really out of whack with my perspective here. You know, so like one of the things is like a building back here, for instance. Say there's another one back here. Even to this point, just this far away, this one's going to get really simplistic. So I'm going to use larger shapes of shadows. For instance, on each of these, I'm going to make sure to like just block in big shadows right here. Anyways, you know, so like this right here, I'm going to use some bigger shadows. And here I can get into like maybe a shadow here, but then I'll do some cross hatching as it goes down to kind of give that effect that like there's maybe a street light, bouncing light upward like that. But yeah, as they get back here, they're just going to be blocks. You might not even see windows back here, maybe just a little hint of windows. So you just have to kind of judge that as you go. But yeah, you should only focus on putting heavy detail up front, closest to the camera, or where a character might be. You know, say there's a character right here or something. You know, we got a jumper. You know, and that's who this superhero is going to save. So he's standing on the ledge. You know, something like that. He's going to jump. He's got that funny look in his eye. So, but he's got a cell phone. He called for help. Let's give him a cell phone. Anyways, so yeah, so you know, here's where your detail is going to be, because that's your focal point, and then back here it's going to get more simplistic. So, hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. I have a question regarding the perspective of characters like the one coming at you. What's your question? I'll get it. Sorry if you've answered this, but are you using regular Manga Studio or EX? I'm using EX because I designed my comic in here, so it's got the ability to save a huge file with all the different pages as one document. So yeah, this is the EX version. Oh man, thanks, Chief Anator saying I'm his inspiration. Yeah, that's quite a compliment. I don't know that I'm worthy of that praise, but I'll take it, I guess. I've been good at compliments, so. But yeah, thanks very much for that. Very nice, yeah. And then you got to remember too, like with these like little bricks and things, you don't have to draw every brick. You don't have to make it all ultra detailed. I do this spotting thing. So I'll do like some bricks over here, you know, obviously more towards camera again, where there's going to be a little more detail like this. But then as it fades back, I'll do less and less of the bricks, or as it gets over to here, I'll just do the reverse, the silhouette of the bricks kind of thing. So there's lots of little cheats like that that can save you a bunch of time that, you know, it's not going to matter anyways because of the scale of everything. Yeah, and I'm glad that my work and the channel here can inspire people. That's probably the biggest gratification that I get, or the largest gratification that I get from being on YouTube here, is the comments when somebody says, you know, hey, you helped me complete my book, or you helped me get through a hard part of my art, and you know, that's just awesome. So yeah, I'm totally grateful for the you know, for people saying that and it helping, you know, everybody. That's awesome. Okay, it would be like if a character is coming at you with a punch. Okay, so it'd be like if a character is coming at you with a punch, but like a perspective, like you're the one you have on the screen now. Okay, so I'll do that for the next panel here, and I guess I'll move over to that now since we're already in 30 minutes. Is there any questions that you guys have on this panel that you see me working on? Is there anything that I can shed any light on if you're having a question about this one before I start going over to the next one? Are you familiar with the artists? Oh, first question was, which Wacom tab are you using? I'm using a Cintiq right now. I use Intuos 4 for my digital painting and a Cintiq for my drawing. Are you familiar with the artist Rodolfo Anaya from Santa Fe? No, I can't say that I am. Are they a comic illustrator, or what exactly would I know them for? Or a fine artist? What exactly do they do? Okay, so if you guys don't have any more questions about this, I know it's sorely underfinished, but I'll go on to that next one just because I want to make sure I approach a couple different questions on this perspective thing. So you guys good with that? Wish there wasn't a delay here. It does make it a little tricky. All right, well, we can bounce back to it. If you guys got any questions about that first panel, I'll jump back to it. How do you make a 2D character pop on a 3D building? He's an abstract artist. Okay. Okay. A 2D character pop in a 3D environment. I guess let me try this. So let's take and add another group, and we'll do everything from this this next one in this group. So let's go ahead and add another 1-point perspective. So we'll go layer, ruler, create perspective ruler, 1 point. And let's grab that. We'll put it right to center, because I think what the question is, it's like, all right, somebody's throwing a punch at camera. So you'd use a 1-point perspective. You know, you want to look at perspective like this. The horizon line is your line of sight. So wherever you're looking in the scene, that's where your horizon line goes. So if you're looking down at the ground, then buildings are going to appear larger and up above or whatever. And if you're looking up, you know, the horizon's way up, you're going to be looking down at objects. So just remember that, because it helps you visualize when you're creating scenes like this. So we're looking right at somebody. So we'll put the horizon line right in the middle, I think. Pretty sure. And let's put that in the group here, and let's add a layer over top. And let's just draw in some basic lines to show perspective of where we're at. And we'll do the character next. So it can be action lines that are, you know, kind of showing movement towards towards the viewer. So these action lines can be flying out like this, and you know, those speed lines that you see in in manga and anime and all that. So there's those. So use the 1 point to kind of get that. But then we also want to think about this in a 3D perspective. So let's just say that there's like a room, nothing too extravagant, but we'll just do a box and some perspective lines from the box. So that's our realm, or our space that our character is going to inhabit. And it's good to do this even if you're going to get rid of this stuff for the background, because it helps you visualize and go, okay, I'm in a 3D space now. So now my character is going to look a little more natural. Because if you get used to drawing over a blank white canvas like that, you're going to get used to making mistakes. But if you give yourself a template like this, and you're a little bit more apt to make the character kind of fit that realm. So you could take that, turn it to blue line. You could take the eyedropper, or I don't know if that's an eyedropper, eye off the layer for perspective, and now you'll be able to draw freely again. So that's what you want for characters. You don't obviously want to draw characters in perspective. So now I'm thinking you want me to draw a character punching out towards camera. So let me try that. How do you learn and practice anatomy as foreshortening? Pretty much what I'm showing you here is really the same kind of thing. And I'll get to those other questions here in a second. So let me try to do some of this. So this character is punching out towards camera, right? So he's coming out towards camera. Now, since we see this background, we can pretty much visualize that maybe his head's probably going to be tilted down. Let's start with just a box. We're going to really try to simplify this. And then another angle is the upper torso, and he's coming out towards camera. So we're going to do another box like this. And we're going to actually recede that box into space, into perspective this way as well. So again, this is very crude, but hopefully it'll get the point across. So here's a shoulder, just circle, and he's coming out towards camera. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that the fist is going to end up being really large. So let's just go ahead and get that right out of the way. Let's just draw in a really blocky fist. And why it's kind of good to do it this way is because a lot of this stuff from here to here gets hidden anyways. So it's good to like draw it this way and then just go, okay, you're going to get a bit of the forearm, you get a little bit of the back of the arm. And again, this is going to be really basic, but I just want to illustrate the concept. And then you got counterposing, which is going to be this leg forward. So we'll do the knee right here and this leg back. And again, it's going to recede into space since he's lunging forward. So it's got to get a little bit smaller. We'll do a knee right here. I don't know if the leg would be this far up, but we'll just say it is. And then back here, the shoulder is going to kind of disappear. The head's going to take precedence because it's in front of, that mass or whatever. And then you'll do something like, again, counterposing. So he's got this arm back. He could have this arm, maybe he's got it back like this, and here's the other fist. And then that other forearm ducks back there or something. It looks kind of silly, like a little arm. Or he could have it tucked under and the thumb's on top. See that a lot, on this kind of floating arm back there, and it disappears like that. Again, this is very crude, but, hopefully it gives you the idea. And then once you start to refine it, you can start looking at things and going, the fingers actually would kind of tilt this way and the knuckles would go up here. And that's all in the next stage of it. But you first have to get down this part where you just kind of build it into place and go, okay, the head's tucked down, maybe it's down like this, and you can take this a lot further. I'm going to read the comments here real quick. Okay, your character ended up looking flat when you applied it to a 3D building. That's just going to happen because you're trying to composite 2D with 3D. You got to get really good at 2D to line it up to 3D. I don't think my stuff would stand out really great against 3D either. So that's going to be part of that. One of the best ways to combine those two is a really strong colorist, because they'll be able to kind of make things work together. Okay, so and just real quick to illustrate this another way, because this is just one particular way and that's pretty crude, but you got to remember too that you also got extreme foreshortening. So another way to illustrate this would be that the hand is just really big, like this, and I would start with the hand first on something like this. And then everything gets really small and hidden behind this very large fist. So this is actually the shoulder. So you get the forearm and maybe the elbow out to the side just a little bit, and then the shoulder, and then, his head's kind of tucked down, so maybe he's just kind of peering over his fists a little bit like this. This shoulder's tucked way down. You want to show the, the lean, him leaning over into that punch is what I was trying to get out there. And then again, that tucked counterposed kind of hand down here. Keep drawing these really bad hands, but it's just I'm trying to explain it. So this is another way to show that foreshortened pose, and I think this way is actually more impactful. But there's just lots of different ways to draw this stuff, So you just have to get in the habit of envisioning it, and then throwing it down really loosely like this, and then getting back to and then refining it and getting it to something that that you're proud of, that you like. So that's really the process that you have to master, when doing this kind of stuff. See, and I've got the punch over here looks fine, but then the body looks like it comes down too straight. So I've got to fix that. To me, it's almost like the waist should end up back here. And again, receding back through space, so it'll get hidden by a lot of this stuff. And let's see, counterposing, this leg would be forward. This leg would be back. Yeah, so maybe something like this. I don't know. Something like that. Anyways, does that kind of explain it, I hope? Right, let me try to read some of these comments. Oh, that was what I meant. I couldn't respond well due to me being held back by a couple of minutes. Yeah, that's the only thing that's annoying about live streaming here. It's not quite live, is it? It's like live plus a few minute delay. Yeah, like One Punch Man. Yeah. Is Nora a style of comics, or does it have to do with the angle of the shots and perspective? I think it's more of a detective style, isn't it? Black and white, detective, dark. I think all that is a Nora style. I'm not really sure on that one. I have to Google that one. Do you think that you will live stream about facial construction? Yeah, I mean, I always take requests at the end of each live stream for the next one of what we'll approach. You guys should listen to the Rocky theme while he's drawing this. That would be cool. Yeah, I listen to that every morning when I get out of bed. No, I don't, but I probably should. I probably have a better day if I did. If I'm asking too many questions, please feel free to tell me to shut up. Now, I'm not rude like that, bud, so I'm not going to tell you to shut up. But yeah, just please be quiet. Just kidding. All right, so we got another panel here, and we got another about 15, 18 minutes. What else would you guys like to see in the way of perspective? We actually deviated and did a character, but I guess that was still perspective. So is there anything else you guys can think of? While you're thinking about it, I'm going to sip my coffee. Oh, and this would probably be a good time to say, shameless plug time, so plug your ears if you don't want to hear it. I have a Gumroad and a Patreon page to help me support the work that I do here. If you guys do support, there are rewards, there's benefits. It's not just, hey, throw me some money and I keep drawing you pictures. That's part of it. But the other part is that I'll give out stuff. Like on my Patreon, I'm actually looking for ideas for what you guys would like in the way of rewards. So please let me know if you got any ideas for that, and that's what I'll bring to you. All right, that being said, what else would you guys like to see in this last panel? Yeah, he only silences the trolls. Yeah, we've been through that one, right? A ship. Like a boat? Or like a massive freighter ship? A spaceship? How about a spaceship? I'm not really good at like boats and things, even though I'm like an avid... I love boats, but I just don't know if I could draw one that well. Like a spaceship kind of thing? You want to do that? I hate this delay. This sucks. I like immediate responses. Bird's eye view shot. A ship in perspective flying towards us. Uh-oh. All right, we got two of them there, guys. So you guys help me out here. Would you guys rather see a bird's eye view shot or a ship in perspective? And then someone throws in draw a mech in perspective. All right, that's a little much. That could take a little while. All right, we got two for spaceship. What do we got? Come on, we got to move fast here. Every single time. No, I'm just kidding. I've been thought of your Gumroad now, but I've been murdered with spelling. Bird's eye view. I got two for that. Bird's eye view. Bird's eye. All right, I think we got. Yep, bird's eye came in three more times. All right, we're going for bird's eye view. Ah, it sucks. I really wanted to do the spaceship. All right, let's see. I'm working on big shifts in a couple weeks that will build up my money reserve. Yeah, just when you guys can, man. I don't want anybody stretching. Somebody wants boobs. Go figure. But yeah, I don't want you guys, giving me anything extra. Like I'm talking about small little. I'm trying to get people on board with the stuff, not, people giving me large masses of money for me to do what I do. So don't overextend yourself by any means. I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying, like, some of the rewards are HD downloads and free videos for the video course stuff I do, and I might even do a Patreon only live stream. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes, but yeah, definitely don't overextend yourself. All right, so let's see. Bird's eye view is going to be with oh no, you guys want a bird's eye view. That would be the horizon really low. So we're looking down at like a city, I'm thinking. No blank checks. I appreciate that. Unless of course you have a couple. No, but so right here. So we got the perspective in place for a bird's eye view. So it's really low. And I'll just do some buildings. Just keep it easy so I can hurry up and get to drawing something here. I've been staring at a blank canvas too long. So bird's eye view, you drop the horizon line, vanishing point very low. And then we'll say it's the top of buildings or whatever. So they're going to converge down to that vanishing point. And actually, let me make it smaller because we're only going to get a couple buildings in at that size. And a big thing when drawing perspective with anything is scale. Scale is like the number one thing to focus on. It's what I've been studying more and more lately with larger. I'm trying to get these panoramic digital paintings going and stuff like that. And scale is the one to really study to get stuff like this to look right. So you get these block structures in place like this. And, they're converging down. They're getting pretty small. Let's see if you go from here. Oh, yeah, see how far off I was on that? Goodness. So, yeah, you block in these larger shapes at first. So you get a few buildings in place. You just bring everything down to that converging point. Leave a little separation for some streets and walkways and stuff like that. And every now and then you'll get a line that goes off. Actually, I think it was. This is the tricky part too. When you're right next to the horizon line, it gets trickier to draw in perspective. So you just gotta get good at eyeballing that and spot some mistakes or whatever. Oh, somebody just said my figure drawing course is helpful. Yeah, thanks so much. I'm glad you watched that. I appreciate it. My typing skills suck. Yeah, mine too. Yeah, so you get these blocked in shapes, and you want to always have, some good contrast to what you're doing. So you get your street, maybe a wider street here. You've got it cutting through here, whatever. Maybe it goes angular and goes off to this one, whatever. So a lot of it is getting all of this in place and then showing contrast to size. So right now they're just these boring block, building blocks kind of thing. And I think the part that most people struggle with, myself included, is like getting into the details of this and not making it just look a mess. So the first thing that I generally will do with anything that I draw like this is lay in the bigger shapes of shadows. So let me get enough of this in place where I can do that confidently. So we'll say that that's our city looking down or whatever. And I'll take the perspective ruler off for a second. I'll add a layer. Remember, layers are your best friend for experimenting. So if you got any things that you're unsure of, just add a layer and mess around. You're scared of heights like that? Yeah, me too. So basically, the first thing I would do to simplify this is figure out where my light source is, and we'll say that the light source is, well, if I want to make it really easy, I'd have the light source coming down like this. Now what happens is I can put shadow to, to the majority of these structures right here, like there, and it just totally simplified this scene because I'm not saying I don't have to draw windows over here. I still got to do that, but it's going to be a lot easier to just, well, especially digital. I could block these in with a dark and then come back and just fill in windows with a white. That can be pretty easy. And now all I got to do is worry about, drawing in more detail to these areas. So one of the things that I do whenever I try to draw buildings is I try to come up with some different patterns. I don't want all the buildings to look the same. So I'll detail the one side of this, and as it goes down, this wider bar, see how it gets smaller, and as it gets down to here, it's going to actually turn into just these series of tight lines. And that's going to help convey the distance effect. And then I use these lines on this side, so it gives me reference points, and I'll actually reverse the light and dark when I do this on the other side. So I do the same thing where it gets tight down to here, whatever. And then over here, maybe there's a drop shadow under this bar, whatever. Maybe these are windows, like this. And you just got to remember that the way that you convey the size of these buildings are these little lines, these little tiny windows and the drop shadow. You don't want to get in the habit of, I see this a lot. This is a building. And that's fine. That is a building. That's quick, easy. It does the job, but it doesn't convey size. It doesn't convey any depth of structure. You need the thick to thin lines and the different weights of lines to convey. You can start here, but then you need, maybe there's a drop shadow under each ledge or whatever. I don't know. I guess you're not seeing the drop shadow from here. You're seeing more the depth of the ledge going back. So you could even recede it back and do these little indents. So it's stuff like that, and then it's making these tiny little details that will make it look larger, basically. So it's getting in there and getting good at those tiny little details is really, and varying them up from building to building. Oh, and Chief Amateur says you could have did a spaceship from a bird's eye view. But that would have been a bit tricky. Yeah, and I don't know what a bird would be doing in space either. I think they would explode, wouldn't they? So yeah, and then it becomes real easy to do the back sides of these buildings because you've got your work done on this side. So you just practice doing these different patterns, and then you practice doing a light version and a dark version, positive and negative of the drawing, and that's how you do an entire city that way, really. And then, and the tricky part's getting all the little details. So you want like this little tiny sidewalk right here, and you want to turn your perspective ruler off. You want to do like a little tree, some little foliage down there. They'd be really tiny, and then you got to do some little cars. These are cars. I know they don't look like it, but from this distance, these are cars. Look, and here's a car that just went on the sidewalk and almost hit this guy. That's a family of people. Whatever. They're ants, but that's how you do it. And you just, you work again. Now your detail and your focal points are up here and down this way. But as they go downward, you're going to forego detail. You're going to make it get real simplistic. And then you want to do like shadows off the buildings and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Birds, even in a ship, cannot survive. They need Earth's gravity to swallow food. Man, you guys really get into this stuff, don't you? That's good, though. You got to have an imagination. That's awesome. All right, so I guess I'll keep detailing this unless you guys have any more ideas. And I think that perspective line actually would have went right there. Yeah, and the thing I love most about doing this is that you can zoom in with the perspective rulers on and just really go, if you really wanted the detail in here, you can. But just remember that zooming in is like your best friend and your worst enemy at the same time. You don't want to over zoom in and over detail your work because it could be just total waste of time. So you want to stay back as far as possible. And I know that can get tricky with various devices, but you just gotta kind of get a feel for it. And remember too that that same thing I showed you guys, if you guys were all watching earlier on in the video, that you just use that cross beam effect. So say you get a squared off area like this. So you could square off this area here, and you can go on an angle with a lot thinner line, and you can find center. So that's always how you find center right there. It's real easy. I cheat a lot of times and just eyeball stuff, but it shows in my work sometimes. So if you struggle with that, just take your time to find center, and your stuff will look more polished. And then the eraser, I'll actually just hold shift and erase things like that really quick. And sometimes the erasers don't snap. You got to make sure that certain tools, you can set all your pencils and pens in this software to snap to ruler or not snap to ruler. So I have some set to both. That way there's certain times when I can just get off the ruler by grabbing a different brush. Draw Godzilla. Yeah, that's not off topic. I would like to draw Godzilla, but actually I don't even draw that good of a Godzilla. That's a nice gesture or idea, but yeah, my Godzillas aren't the greatest. Tell you what, I did like that new movie though. They did an awesome job on that. Hoping they make another one. I say new movie, but the newest version of Godzilla, I should say. Sure beat the one with Matthew Broderick or whatever. That was horrible. No attacking the city. I am watching a video. Hey Rob. Hey Felix. Are you just getting here? You know this is about ready to shut down, right? Unfortunately. Alright, so what else can we do here? You can draw like the little substructures on top. Yeah, you got here late. Yeah, it happens, man. We all lead very busy lives. I know how it is. Okay, what else? What else can we do here? So hopefully this is giving you guys some ideas for how you can structure your buildings here. Yeah, I think buildings are hard too, but you know what it is? It's pulling from a lot of reference, taking the time to look at your reference and really study it and break them down in an easy fashion. A lot of what drawing is and painting and all that is just breaking things down just the right way and simplifying the process. That's the hard part because we just tend to overdraw, overpaint, and do all the stuff. Once that's why I showed you guys as far as breaking these down into larger shapes and then working into the smaller details. It just gets you to mentally do that and break it down, and ultimately will save you time. Yeah, I like the old school Godzillas too. Man, that's funny. You guys are on a Godzilla tangent now, huh? Yeah, Alien POD says if you did sci-fi, then you could make your own stuff. No need to menu references. Yeah, I'll tell you that's one of the reasons I actually really enjoy sci-fi is because yeah, you can just play around and do your own thing. Um, but it's still yeah. Just so you guys know, if I don't know if you noticed right there, but that polyline snapped perfectly to perspective. That's pretty cool. I actually didn't even know that. But yeah, but it's still helpful to look at reference and then draw your science fiction stuff as well. Um, is everything that you do should have some kind of basis of a reality to it, and you'll in turn do better artwork, and people will identify uh, with your work a little bit better. So I agree with you on what you said there, but then also just keep in mind that that's the reference is still important to do your work. You can actually take reference from a regular city and then convert it to a fantasy environment. And I think it's important if you do that. It also helps you for those times when you're not as inspired to create, because there will be those times, unfortunately. And referencing materials will kind of help you through that. Yeah, I love how this snaps to perspective. That's flipping awesome. Kudos, Smith Micro. Okay, let's see. Is there any? Yep, take what you know and push it. Yeah, push it to a new level and a new experimentation, and push your imagination, all that great stuff. Yeah, so I guess that's gonna bring it to a close, you guys. We're at the hour mark, a little bit over. Any last questions, and I'll try to do what I can. But hopefully you've learned a little bit from this particular episode. So we did a 1 point perspective with the guy on a ledge. It's gonna probably jump, unfortunately. Sorry, buddy. And then the foreshortened punch and perspective and the bird's eye view. Chief Editor says a good thing to look at is selfies from people who climb buildings. Yeah, that's got to be pretty cool. Definitely some great shots there. Yeah, it's really creating a good library of all that stuff too, and then being able to access it when you need it is another part of being a good illustrator. Because Google, you go to Google something, you get everything but what you're looking for. Sometimes I don't get that. Good video. Oh, I appreciate that. So yeah, so I appreciate everybody stopping by, and let me know what you'd like to see in the future. So comment in the description box below to give me ideas for the next live stream, and that's what I'll bring you. I try to do them every Wednesday at 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. I can't always guarantee it, but I do my best. And yeah, keep in mind that I have a Patreon for support, and then also a Gumroad with my digital content, which I've already plugged a couple times, so forgive me. Yeah, thanks, Felix. Hope to see you early on the next one. Oh, and thanks, Rob. Maybe I'll do that city chase scene after all. Good point. Yeah, good luck on that. I hope you do well with it. When would you use 1 point, 2 point, 3 point? 2 point, 3 point are going to be more distorted perspectives. 3 point, you could do that really well with an upshot. You can pretty much use those in a lot of areas, but I just wanted to show 1 points here because they're a little bit easier to explain. Yeah, Felix says you can use 3 for interior and exterior. Yeah. Yeah, they can be used anywhere, really. It's going to give you a little bit more of a distorted field of view or distorted perspective. Um, so yeah, I'd have to illustrate it to explain it, I guess, but they can be used anywhere. Always plug capitalism rules. Nice. Yeah, with no self promotion equals demotion or no motion. All right, so yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, Kevin just made it. Sorry, Kevin, closing her down. See you next time, buddy. Yeah, so thanks everybody for tuning in and stopping by. I appreciate it. You guys make it worth it. So anything you'd like to see in the future, be sure to drop that in the comment section below and we'll do it all again. So keep drawing, keep having fun, and I'll talk to you soon.